hope you're all doing fine today. We're just waiting a little bit longer for people to join the space, and we're also waiting for Scorpio again, who will be with me again today on the space to deep dive into market making. So hold on for just a little bit, and we'll get going very soon. Hello, Scorpio, are you here?
Yo. Hey, everyone.
Hey, man.
Back
How are you
again.
today?
How are y'all doing? We're ready for another session with MC Paulus.
Absolutely. All right. Let's wait for like a little bit longer to see if more people jump in, and then we'll head it off and kickstart the space.
Sounds good. Let's go.
All right. I just also dropped the space link in our Discord for everyone to join through there. So we'll see a nice influx of people towards the space now. So I think we can kick it off. So welcome everybody. As you might know from last week, I'm Paulus. I'm co-hosting the space. I do the marketing at Reform. And yeah, you will see me probably a lot in the community, and I'm very much looking forward to today to deep dive into what market making really is. And with me, I have Scorpio again. Scorpio, can you do a quick intro?
Hey everyone, back again. Since of course last week when we had the first actually, how do we call it, space of course, of Reform. I'm Scorpio, managing all the operations for the for Reform DAO to go well, and to make sure that everyone does what needs to be done. So pleasure to be here again.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, let's kick it off with a little bit of the achievements we have gained this week. As you might have seen, we're growing close to 70,000 followers on our Twitter. We have also grown the Discord to close to 60,000 people, so that's another increase of 10,000 people there. It's incredible how big the community is growing already. And even more incredible is that last week we launched our testnet Wave 1, and until now we had over 20,000 people that are utilizing the testnet, which is just incredible to me. Let's dive a little bit into the planning of today. One of the main things that we want to do is first of all announce the testnet Wave 2, which will go live after this space, where we will have a lot of new people join the testnet again. We will quickly do a general market update, which is one of the segments that we want to discuss during these spaces, where we just look at what's happened in the market, and then we give our opinion on it. We see how it impacts us, how it impacts the company potentially. We have obviously the educational content part, where we deep dive into market making, and hopefully you guys will all learn something from this. And then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. Let's get going. Testnet Wave 2. Well, as I just said, the testnet will go live after this Twitter space, X space, around 5 p.m. CET, which is 1 hour after we started the space. We have 11,000 new people that have been added to the whitelist who will get access today. So a lot more people will be able to test to help us to make sure our dashboard is spotless. Additionally, with the launch of the second wave, we will add 2 new actions that people can complete in the testnet. So if you already had access to the testnet, make sure you go back to it again, because there's more for you to do now. And a bit later today, I will explain why it's so important to do all these tasks within the testnet, because that's linked to an airdrop. And that's obviously why our way of rewarding you for helping us test the product. So let's dive into the general market update of today. Scorpio, I'll just read out some of the things that we saw that happened in the market. And very curious to find out what you think about it. So first of all, Google updated their policies, and now they allow Bitcoin and crypto trust products to be advertised.
Yeah, sounds good. I think, developments like this, I myself, I'm always, let's say, in the space, trying to figure out the new trends and trying to figure out what will impact the space the most. I think Google now accepting have their policy adjusted for crypto advertising. I think that's perfect. I think that opens up a huge market since, of course, Google is the biggest one as of now in the world. So yeah, that opens up a huge market, and especially to the traditional people who do not maybe have exposure, who have maybe not direct exposure to crypto yet, but have heard of it and now can get triggered even more. I do think, they also need to keep, the policy sharp, because, you also have in crypto, especially, still quite some people that also want to, practice malicious activities, and of course, some phishing and whatsoever. So I also hope that they will still, have all those things blocked and make sure that they're on top of this with their algorithms. But all in all, I think it's a huge step again moving forward towards the mass adoption of crypto and getting it to the ordinary people.
Yeah, fully agree. And I think the next piece of news that happened this week goes very closely to it, because we saw that BlackRock and Van Eck actually started actively promoting their BTC ETF through Google now.
It's quite depicting, right? Because it's really funny to see that Google was always very strict on those crypto advertisements, and now the bigger party stepped in. They have some lobbying. They have a big input in what's happening in the world, so to say. And now the ETF can be promoted in terms of course, related to crypto marketing. So that's, like I said, it's good, right? In general, it gives exposure to Bitcoin, it gives exposure to the crypto space in general. It's just funny from my point of view to see that, those parties, funny, it's also logical, but those bigger parties have the leverage power to actually really change policies of the world leaders. But, I think for all of us here in crypto, it's nothing new.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. It's funny to see that development indeed. One of the other things that we saw, which is quite interesting, I think, to look at, is that Russia made statements that they're looking to ditch the US dollar for trade settlements, and it's their top priority for 2024 to make this happen. What do you think that the implication of, say the BRICS countries moving away from the dollar as trade settlement provider basically will have on Web3?
The impact on Web3, I would not say, I do not know exactly what it will have as a direct effect. Of course, Russia moving away from the dollar in terms of trading currency, I think, that's quite big, because still Russia, I think, has quite a big, circulating money supply that's actually moving from and to other countries, even paid with US dollars. So that's a pretty bold statement, I have to say. I also wonder how workable it will be. It's of course also dependent on how other countries actually perceive it, and if they will also agree with what Russia is doing, especially if they're doing trade efforts with Russia. But all in all, it's just like I said, a bold statement, and I'm really I'm eagerly anticipating to see what that will include. It will of course have an influence in the world economy, but indirectly also on crypto. But in what form and how much input it will have, I cannot say. I do not know.
No, yeah, fair enough. I think it's a difficult topic as well, right? It's to me, it feels that it might not work out for them when they move away, and then I could see them moving towards crypto as an alternative, as a payment model or leverage for it instead of gold or another currency. So that might be a positive twist for the crypto space, obviously the Web3 space, but
I think that's
time will tell.
I think that's the bullish scenario, right? That's the scenario we're all hoping for.
I'm a marketeer,
Exactly. Yeah. That's the case. Okay, all good.
All right, and then the last piece, that I picked out for last week's news is basically the X platform, which we are all on right now. So it's definitely the most utilized social media platform in Web3, and they just last week launched the X Payments account, which is probably the next step in turning X into something way bigger than just a social media platform. What do you think about that, and what will be the outlook for it?
Yeah, I think everyone knows since Elon Musk took over, like a lot of things change within the platform from Twitter moving to X. I think he also has big plans with it and getting it like an all-in-one solution, almost like a WeChat that you have, for example, in China. And I think this is really logical, right? Because people want a one-stop solution for everything, and especially someone like Elon Musk, who is a visionary and knows where he wants to go to. He is the person who can pull it off actually without having to put in some sort of strings to people or oblige them to do things. It's also he can most likely even make people want to use the platform in that sense. So we're all, of course, in this case already using X. We're even from the Reform account and from the affiliate accounts paying for X, which was a new feature when it was taken over. But you just do it because it gives you the authority and the things that you need. And I think that's also with the new wallet, or let's say the Twitter payments integration, the X payments integration. It opens up a huge market again. And like we also talked about, if X will also go for banking and all those kind of things, it will integrate crypto. It has already third-party integrations on Twitter that can do things with crypto. And I think especially if it will be integrated in the platform itself, then it will again open up for a huge audience. And if that's a standard thing integrated in the platform, that's awesome.
Yeah, fully agree. I mean, it also it makes it clear why X has been so strict on third-party software that was doing anything with the platform when it was still Twitter. Because Twitter was like, let's use all the third-party software and let them do whatever they want. And X is just banning all of it because they probably want to provide all of that themselves. I also saw that yesterday or 2 days ago, the X Pro feature came live, which is basically what used to be TweetDeck back in the days, where you can manage multiple accounts at the same time. So it's interesting to see that they're integrating all of the third-party software that was available before in X itself right now. So very bullish future as well, again, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, well then, that was most of the interesting stuff that we saw in the market over the last few days. And with that said, I think it's time that we dive into the educational content, which is the deep dive into market making. Last week we already did some explanation about market making a little bit because we had to explain what Reform is and what we're doing as a company. But I think it's important that today we're also deep diving a bit further into market making and give some examples and really make people understand what market makers are and what they do. So could you start by giving a brief explanation again on what market making really is?
Yeah, I think indeed for the people who were not here last week, I think it's very important to get an understanding on what market makers actually do and why they're so important. In any financial market, as well traditional as actually in the old ages even, when they actually provided cattle, but that's a different story. But actually right now, in traditional markets as well as the crypto markets, we all know that whenever you want to buy cryptocurrency or sell cryptocurrency, you need to be able to sell it to someone or to some pool, or buy. And in that sense, it's just very important always to have someone on the other side that's being able to take your buy or sell, or let's say you're going to take it from the order book or from the liquidity pool because you want to ignite a transaction, right? The person who is on the other side is actually the person who is not taking anything, but who is making actually the market, who is making the order books or making the liquidity pools. That's actually the market maker. So the market maker is here actually for you to be able to trade on exchanges whenever you want to make a trade. So mainly most of the time people just want to do, I'm behind my computer, I want to make a trade. I just take it from the order book and I just execute my transaction. While on the other side, you have the market makers and they actually fill up this order book or fill up the liquidity pool and to make sure that you can make your trade whenever you want. So at any time of the day. So that in a nutshell is actually what a market maker does. And of course, there's a lot of different strategies and algorithms and approaches to it, how you can actually provide this liquidity to the order books or liquidity pool as a market maker. But yeah, we'll probably go into that a little bit deeper. I don't know if this space or maybe next space.
Yeah, I mean, it goes so far, right? It's very interesting to understand it all. Would it be possible for you to, because you also do market making for dedicated projects, right? So that's probably the same thing, but then for one project. But would you be able to give an example, use or like explain it using an example? So doing the market making for a specific project or token.
Yeah, so the thing is, especially when tokens go to the market, they're brand new. Not everyone heard of them, and not a lot of people are actually filling up the order book from a natural point of view. So yeah, you need someone who actually can fill up those order books and can actually suffice for the liquidity for people that want to buy the token in the first phases, or actually got some tokens from a launchpad or whatsoever and want to sell it on the exchanges. So yeah, in that sense, a project is always searching for one, two, sometimes even three market makers that can actually suffice for this order book. Sometimes even battling a little bit against each other, outbidding each other, trying to get the best spread and the best price execution for the algorithms. But yeah, in the end, the market maker is here for actually providing liquidity in the order book and also doing that for projects. Designated market maker for projects. As Reform DAO, we're of course aiming to do that whenever we have launched in the first or the second month after doing the first MVPs with other projects. But of course, our own project, Reform DAO, that's of course going to be the holy grail, and it's going to be our proof of work, so to say. So whenever we will launch that properly, we're also able and capable to do that for other projects because we have the proven concept, right? And I think we're testing in the background on so many other pairs, on small coins, on big coins. Everything is ongoing, so there's a lot of things going on in the background to make sure that we're actually able to get everything done how we are aiming to do how we want it to be done. And I think that's where we are right now, and what actually in the end designated market making is for.
Yeah, well, great explanation. At least to me, it's very clear. I hope it's clear to everyone as well. And now it makes a lot of sense what the market maker is doing, but obviously nobody does anything for free in this world. So what is the benefits for a market maker? Like what is their, how do they make revenue doing this?
Yeah, so market makers are incentivized could be incentivized in different ways. It could also be a combination. Most of the time, half of the time you have loan agreements. So that means that a market maker takes out the loan from a project and will be able to buy back tokens at a specific price, or pay off the loan over a specific period of time. Whenever price goes down, they can just buy it for a cheaper price. So in the end, that's like the win of the market maker. Whenever price goes well, they can call an option contract, which represents a specific price. So let's say you take the loan agreement at 10 cents. Your strike price the average strike price where you can actually buy back the tokens or pay off your loan, so to say, is, for example, at 15 cents. And then whenever the token price of that specific project goes to 20 or 30 cents, you're of course incentivized to actually pay off the loan for that 15 cents that I mentioned in the example. But then, the leftover that you have, like the 5 or 15 cents above the average repayment strike, is your profit as a market maker. So that's the first one. That's normally done in bull cycles where they all see, okay, it's an, how do you say that? The market is then there for it because prices tend to go up. Then in bear markets you have most of the time retainer models, and retainer models are purely based on a monthly fee. So they just pay a monthly fee to a market maker, so they don't have any directional incentive, so that they just do, pay us, 5,000 per exchange a month, and then we will do 3 exchanges for you, and we will suffice for liquidity. Of course, the project itself then actually need to suffice for either the token and the stable coins, because the market maker is not going to take the risk in that case. In the other case, in the loan agreement, the market maker is incentivized to actually take the risk, because there he only gets the loan in tokens and not actually in stable coins. So that's actually the two models. There's a lot of different other ways how how it's being structured sometimes, like different extra things to it, additions in terms of, okay, we can give you some extra deal flow, or we can provide community or KOLs, or all those extra things are around it. But yeah, in the essence, it's mainly about the option contract / loan agreement and the retainer model.
All right, and can we already disclose what Reform will be doing, or is that
So
something?
yeah, so I think we have an idea on how we want to structure it. We know how it can be structured. We're aiming for the loan agreement because we think that will also, in the end, whenever there's there's more tokens left after the service has been provided, that we can add that actually to the DAO treasury. And whenever it's added to the DAO treasury, it actually becomes part of the high frequency trading and liquidity providing part. And then we can actually start generating those realized profit quite significantly. So I think, for Reform, we have a preference where we want to go. It does not mean that we can also pivot, or that we are also exploring other ways on performing the market making, because, as I said, market making in general is a competitive space. And it's also, you need to try to give projects a good deal. I also believe that you need to give them a transparent way of operating, so that they can see whatever is going on with the project and actually with their financial statement of the market. And also, that it's being done fair, right? So, I think that's really what we as Reform want to represent. And together with our community, who is all in this Twitter space right now, on this X space right now, that we want to do with them.
Yeah, because that's actually one of the other questions that I would like to ask you. Is like, obviously there's now we know what market makers do. We have an example on how that work with a specific token. We know the benefit of the market maker, but what is the real benefit for the end user? Is that truly the fact that liquidity is provided and they can trade, or is there other benefits for end users at this point, the token holder, so to say?
Yeah, so of course, in the normal market making, as companies, so to say, the only benefit for the retail is that there's liquidity on the exchanges that they can actually trade against. So that's basically the only benefit for them. As Reform, we of course want to have the alignment of incentives between all stakeholders within the market making process, where also our community is actually a central point of where we want to focus at, and actually also want to make sure that they co-benefit from everything that's happening. So of course, we have of all the realized profits that being made after the high frequency trading and liquidity provision, we have 65% of that channeling back to buybacks, and actually then being sent back to the bonding treasury to be able to be sold for liquidity again. So this means that our structure, as well as the high frequency trading and liquidity providing, as well as the designated market making, both actually suffice for realized profits. And those realized profits are in the end meant to buy back the token and to actually sell off for liquidity again. So this actually means that Reform in itself will be an ever-growing liquidity providing, so to say, entity / protocol. Where we actually can do that for designated projects, we can do it for ecosystems, we can make partnerships with venture capitals that have those newly starting projects. We can make partnerships with exchanges because we are sufficing so much liquidity. So the possibilities are endless in that sense. And I also think that the backbone of the crypto market, the cryptocurrency market, so to say, is that you need to be able to trade, you need to be able to sell or buy your assets, and I think that's where actually where actually the money is being made. And now, let's say, all by private entities and market makers and parties that are actually doing it behind the scenes. And we as Reform want actually our community to be also benefiting from that indirectly by buying with token and actually sufficing for liquidity again, but making that ecosystem and protocol on a constant base better and bigger. So that's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Sorry, I'm always
no, it's good.
When I'm going in the story, it goes all out, and then I just want to tell everything about it. But I hope it's still understandable, and if you still have some questions, I think also for you, just let me know, because then I can maybe elaborate on some other things a little bit more, so to say.
Yeah,
For
for
me, it's a
sure.
natural
for
thing,
sure.
right?
I mean, one of the things we can already say is that we are working on getting these parts of the Twitter or of the X space, which are recorded online, and we'll also look into creating like videos or infographics explaining everything that you just explained for every question, right? So we want to make sure that there's enough educational content out there in the near future for all of you to like very clearly understand what we're doing and everything that we explain during these spaces as well. And I just wanted to quickly recap because I think that's very interesting to understand for everyone that's here. The all the revenue that's being made from sales in the bonding contract and from the market making that's done, the designated market making goes into the engine, right? But the only thing that goes out of the engine is profits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the only thing that will come out of the engine is like realized profits. So this means that, whenever you start with, for example, one Bitcoin, the one Bitcoin can go up and down in dollar value. So that's, always the case because the price fluctuates. The most important part here is that actually that one Bitcoin will be remaining one Bitcoin, but you make with the market making, you make it, for example, 1.1 or 1.2. And actually the 0.1 or 0.2 as an excess of, so to say, tokens, that's your realized profits. So that's actually how we can make sure that we maintain treasury, so maintain the amounts of tokens that we have, but on top of that generate more tokens and coins, and take that actually sort of out of the market and use that to actually generate the realized profits, to actually buy back the Reform token and sell it off for liquidity again. So in that sense, that liquidity will again be used to make the realized profit. So it's like a circular economy with constant liquidity growth. And I think that's something super unique, where I have to say, we've been building on this quite a while. And we've also been breaking our heads over this. But I think we've been thinking quite thoroughly about it, and it seems like a very, very solid way of actually leveraging your liquidity and also making profits for the community.
Absolutely. I think it's also important to mention that the buybacks will be from the public exchanges. So we're basically buying liquid Reform tokens, and we're selling them again in the bonding treasury, which means they are at least locked for a 1-year period when people buy the bonding treasury, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also why we can, through the bonding treasury, give away discounts. Because if you lock it for 1 year, you get 5% discount. If you lock it for 5 years, okay, it's a long time, but you get 40% discount on market price. Plus, your weight, your staking weight within the staking treasury also exponentially increases the longer you lock it. So I think especially there, we're able to give out those discounts simply because we can offset them with the realized profits that we're making with the algorithms that are running. Since those algorithms are like, high frequency trading, making millions of trades a day, getting, the volumes as high in the sky as as we all want. So in the end, it's all about making this ecosystem as robust as possible, and then making it all work.
Yeah, that's very interesting because that means there's a continuous flow of money going towards taking liquidity out of the Reform pool that's right now out there, but still offering it to people. So there's a growth in a decline in the how much token is available on the market, basically, unless they buy through Reform directly. And obviously with the marketing that we're doing, there's an everlasting growth of people that want to buy the Reform token. So it's basically you're giving back to the community by doing this, because the token will most likely go up in value by doing this, and that's something interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's the thought process behind it, right? Yeah. That's how it indirectly benefits all the community members, and makes us, I think, different than normal market makers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big difference. That's great. I mean, I really try to do it baby steps, right, to make sure everyone understands that it's to me it's a clear process now, because you explained it to me many times, but it's such an amazing thing, like how it was structured, that I really think if people understand what it all is, they will be way more bullish than they already are. Okay, well, let's move on, because a lot of these questions were not on my list, so I don't want to take too much time, but it's an interesting subject. So one of the last things that I want to dive into now is As we mentioned a lot last week when we had the space, and also today already, is that one of the unique selling points of Reform is that, and we're proud to say so, is the transparency that we want to offer. So what exactly is the benefit of this for the end users and for the projects that receive the market making that Reform so transparent?
So I think, in any market and in any, I would say in any business that you do, transparency is always key. I also noticed that within, Reform DAO, transparency to all the people that are contributing to the DAO about, financials or what we can offer, what we can't offer, always makes them aligned with you, with your vision, so to say, and what you're able to offer them, and they also get an understanding then on why things are how they are. I think that's also the same with market making. It's in essence, it's a space that, especially the designated market making, it's a space, it's a market that's really behind the scenes and really doing everything behind the closed doors. And I think especially from a Reform point of view, we want to break this open. We want to, especially through our dashboard already as a first phase, make available to the people what kind of trades we're making, what kind of positions we have, doing the trade reports to actually showcase what the realized profits are and the volumes that we're making. Actually being very transparent in our way of operating. And I think that's also what people are actually, especially if you look at blockchain, they want that, so to say. They want to be able to see what's going on and, not being kept in the dark. And I think that's, opening up the space of, how it works. That's already one thing that's important for people to understand, because I can imagine a lot of people actually not knowing how market making is actually being done or, how it works. But also on the other side, and if they understand that, then they also understand that the other side of that is that transparency is super important there, because if there's no transparency, people are also not able to check if, things are done properly or fair or, the right way. So I think that's, one thing for the retail point of view, so that they're able to see, okay, how is this actually doing, and especially if they're part of the DAO. But I think on the other side, for projects, it's also just super important to always get an insight on how actually their current market making is performing. So that will not per se always be open to, let's say, to open up those dashboards per se always for the public, but at least the public will see all the trades that are executed and actually the amount or the percentage that's in the treasury that's dedicated to that specific project or the designated market making. Because some projects also say, we would like to have, let's say, a spread of this, and we want to have a specific amount of volume spread amongst the specific range. And then you also need to be able to keep your promise, right? As a market maker, you need to be able to transparently show them that everything is how you actually agreed with them, how it should be. And that also comes down to the transparency part. So, I think those two, referring to more of the community side of things, but also on the other side to the project side of things, it's just super important to be transparent. And I think there are also enough projects that maybe do not want this transparency, but that's also because they then want maybe to do some things behind the scenes that are not able or not good to touch the daylight, so to say. And I think
not ethical.
With Reform, exactly, not ethical. And I think with Reform, we really, really, really want to distantiate ourselves from those unethical practices, and let's say open up this space to make it more transparent and fair.
Yeah, great. Well, great way of closing off this section. Well, the plan was to go to a general Q&A of some of the questions that we have seen in our community, but I just saw that a partner of Reform and a good friend of ours, Alt Crypto Gems, is in the audience and he's listening. And I actually wanted to get him onto the stage as well, if he is available. Let's see if I can manage that.
Always good times with Alt Crypto Gems.
I think I just invited him to become a speaker. So let's see if that all went well. There we go.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
Hey man, how are you?
Hey, I saw you guys were live, so I thought let's join and see what you guys are talking about. So it's good that you sort of saw me live on the space.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, I just saw your face when I looked down on my phone to check. And I know I saw you earlier today already in the space with Bybit and stuff, so I know you're always super busy, so I really appreciate you popping in. Well, I think, Shu, if you maybe can, I got a couple nice questions for you actually. So I think it would be good to have a little introduction, like, who are you and what is your role in the crypto industry?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. My name obviously is Shul, but people actually know me as Alt Crypto Gems these days. And I've been in the crypto space since I believe 2016. But the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I started trading full time, basically low cap altcoins. And pretty much whenever I bought or sold something, I just posted on my Twitter page for some sort of bookkeeping for myself. And then all of a sudden, people started to enjoy the content that I was creating. They started to follow me. And then, yeah, fast forward to 2 to 3 years, and we're now here. It's become a company. And like you said, the companies like Bybit or Binance, they reach out to me, want partnerships. They want me to speak for them. Yeah, and that's just how it is these days. They call me a KOL or key opinion leader nowadays. And yeah, I saw you guys and early stage actually, and saw what you guys were doing and what you said you were going to do. And that sort of raised my attention, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, nice, man. Lovely. Yeah, that's a great story. I know you've told it to me before, but it's like every time you tell the story, it's great that.
Yeah, nice, man. Lovely. Yeah, that's a great story. And I mean, you've told it to me before, but it's like every time you tell the story, it's great that something so small became so big, right? I always love to see that, and yeah, that's great. So, what is your experience with market making? Have you ever worked with market makers? Are you in touch with them? Like,
In all honesty, market making obviously is a bit more technical, and I'm less of the technical and I'm more of the degen side, so to speak. But still, I mean, market making is very important with everything that we do in the crypto space, and not just the crypto space, but it's a very important aspect. And obviously, during the days or during the years, I've actually got in touch with a couple of market makers, seen how projects do market making. So I know what it is. But in all honesty, the very technical aspect, and it's not something that I do daily. Let's keep it like that.
yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I mean, obviously, the next question I'm going to ask you, the answer should be market making with Reform DAO, of course. But I'm just curious to see, what important aspects of Web3 do you think are not going so well right now and could use an improvement or a newer version of it during the next bull run? Like, where do you think is the key improvements?
Well, I mean, the stuff that you guys talked about already, market maker obviously can always be better, and especially good market makers. And I think that's an important thing to say, and that's why I like what you guys are doing, and that's why I'm here actually. Is obviously there are a lot of market makers, but they make a lot of money. And I'm not saying that it's bad, but real good market makers that want to do what needs to be done, I feel are just not there yet. And I feel that with Reform, we're going towards that sweet spot pretty much. So that's one thing that I think needs to change. Obviously, a bit more to the DAO side of Reform. I think nowadays projects. I remember in 2021 when a project had a doxed team, for example, everyone was very hyped and said, so this project is a great project because they doxed. And nowadays, it doesn't matter what project you have, everyone is doxed, and either it's a fake dox or it's just a couple third world country people that are there that doxed for the people of the project. So I think having a good, solid legal structure project, or someone that actually thought of it and worked it out very well, is important for the next bull run as well, because we all know there are so many scams in the space, and by improving that, I think we're getting less and less scams and going more towards the real proper projects. So those are two things that, out of the top of my head, I'd say are needed very much, and I think Reform is doing that on a very good matter.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. I mean, it's always good to be appreciated, but I think you're right. I think it's indeed that safety aspect that transparency is so important.
Exactly.
And when.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. I mean, it's always good to be appreciated, but I think you're right. I think it's indeed that safety aspect, that transparency aspect that's so important. And where do you think lays the biggest opportunity for all the people here in the next bull run? Obviously, you're a degen, so you must know what the next big thing is going to be, right?
Well, obviously, what I always say is you need to run the narrative. Me with that is, in the last bull run we had the Save Moon tokens. We then had the Dark tokens. We then had the Reflection tokens. And that's what I'm also trying to say. If you see that there's some sort of narrative popping up, then you need to fully jump on that narrative, sort of farm that entire narrative. And once that's over, you need to get out of it and then move on to the next one. And I see people still sort of marrying their bags of a narrative that's half a year ago. And I feel there's just no point in doing that. So that's one thing. Right now, obviously, airdrops are very, very hot. Pretty much any airdrop that you're able to take right now, people are making, I don't know, hundreds, thousands, or even 10,000 or 100,000 US dollars with some airdrop farming. And it keeps on going pretty much. It's getting crazier and crazier. More and more projects have testnets. Pretty much the same as you guys. So those are things that I'd say, especially if you're starting off with crypto, do some research into airdrop farming because it can be very, very profitable and good to start a portfolio.
Yeah, we write the narrative, as you say.
Exactly. And that's always what I'm trying to say to everyone is write the narrative and completely use that.
Yeah, we write the narrative, as you say.
Exactly. And that's always what I'm trying to say to everyone is write the narrative and completely use that narrative, and don't try to go against the entire narrative and say, you know what, I'm going to do something else. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Spoken as a true degen.
Yeah.
Spoken as a true degen.
Nice. I mean, and I love this narrative as well at the moment, right? Because I think it's so interesting to see that finally the communities and the people that really help a project become big and known are actually being rewarded for their time and efforts, rather than just the traditional investors who put in the big money at the end. So I think it's a nice narrative, and I hope it will last for quite a while now. So that's great. So, I mean, my next question would be to you is like, as a kind of closes, like what makes you so bullish on Reform? Because obviously you are, but I think you already explained it a little bit just now. But anything you want to add?
Well, obviously, I sort of, I saw you guys in a very early stage. From that moment on, I thought this can be interesting. And I think one thing that you guys are doing very well is the transparency part. And I think that's what we're missing in crypto. And I think if you're transparent about what you do, people will find out, and eventually, people will start to believe in you and will follow you pretty much. And that's what I've always been trying to do as well. For example, if I buy a coin that's going to zero, or it turns out that I thought, hey, this is a great coin, but it wasn't, then you can delete, for example, the tweet that I talked about it. But what I used to do is, you know what, I lost money in this token as well, and unfortunately we all did, but we can't all have it correct 100% of the time. And I think by being transparent like that, people will follow you, and actually, you'll build a community. And I think that's what I've been seeing with you guys from the beginning. And I think you're sort of unique in that aspect compared to all the other projects. So that's one thing. And like I said, market making. I think if you do market making well, you're already miles and miles ahead. So yeah, just those two things combined alone is already, I guess, for me, good enough factor to say, you know what, I'm interested, and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, well, that's nicely said. I appreciate that, of course. And it's great to have you here with us. I won't take much of your time, but I have one final question.
Yeah, well, that's nicely said. I appreciate that, of course. And it's great to have you here with us. I won't take much of your time, but I have one final question, obviously, and that's more for all of the community that's listening. So,
and it's actually for Paulus himself.
Yeah, don't tell them.
He does not dare to say it. He wants to ask it himself.
So, what is going to be the next 100x? Obviously, Reform is going to be the next 1000x, so let's not talk about that one. But what's, like, in your opinion, the next 100x that everyone should look at? What do you think is the big thing? Or do I put you on the spot now?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Obviously, there are multiple tokens, and one thing I do always have to say is there's no financial advice. And obviously, when I think a token does well, it can still go to zero. But there's a couple tokens that I think need some sort of attention. One is called BlockX. It's BLOCX. Right now, it's sitting at 7.7 million market cap. I've had a call with the team, and pretty much the same feeling that I'm having with them, where I think they're showing exactly what they do. They do it very well. And if we get a bull run, and if they actually what they say they're going to deliver, then I think it will definitely help. So that's token. And another one that's interesting is called Data Lake. They solve a lot of issues with the sort of how do you say it, decentralized science. And I think if they can actually deliver as well, then they have the potential to fly.
Interesting. Well, I'm taking notes. That's for sure.
I heard your keyboard. I actually heard your keyboard.
Interesting. Well, I'm taking notes, that's for sure.
I heard your keyboard. I actually heard your keyboard.
But once again, I mean, it's
Okay.
obviously no financial advice. That's clear. But
No,
yeah,
of course.
that's just a couple of tokens that I see, and I think, you know what, if they actually deliver what they say they're delivering, then it could, you know, potentially be something very big in a bull run. But let's just hope we get a bull run going soon, even for Reform as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's great talking with you as always, Shio. It's great to have you here. Well, that was everything from my side, at least. You know what just popped into my head when I wanted to ask you. But is there anything that you want to ask us? Because obviously you're not, you know, you're a friend of ours and a partner of Reform, but you're not part of the Reform team. So maybe you have some interesting questions to ask us.
When are we launching?
Then launch.
When launch?
When launch.
That's what everyone wants to know, right? I mean, and especially with the market, you know, being if we have a bull run, then you need to be ready. But that's what everyone. I've actually had people DM me saying, "Hey, the Reform, when are they launching?" So that's why I thought, you know what, let's see what you guys are saying about it.
When launch.
When launch. Well, Scorpio, you want to take it or is it me?
Yeah, of course I want to take it. Now, you know, the thing is, we're really aiming for. I think we can quite surely say that that Q1 at the, you know, utmost the end of Q1 will be the launch of Reform. We're actually, like I said, we prepared everything very well already. Everything is, you know, a massive team behind it, making sure that everything is done properly, from marketing to the market making to the algorithms to the operations, which I'm part of myself. Like everything is being taken care of, and I think, you know, especially now, the coming, you know, month, we really want to go the next phase, so to say, and you know, we're busy with quite some big names and quite some big partners and everything. So yeah, we're really eager to close those down and have some time, you know, open for that. That's also why I'm saying, you know, utmost the end of Q1, because I preferably also launch next month or maybe even tomorrow. But you know, we want the launch to be extraordinary. We want Reform to be an understanding. We want it to be people that they think like, oh, they see Reform and they know, okay, whenever a project is being market made by Reform, that they see like, okay, this is a stamp of approval, right? It's being done properly, and we really want to create that with all the backers that we need and the bigger partners and exchanges and whatever. And I think, yeah, we set a very solid base already. But yeah, of course, you can always go bigger and better, and I think that's the core aim for the coming month, and then with the goal to launch ultimately in the latest stage, end of March.
Perfect. I mean, good to hear, and like once again, it's good to see that you guys are transparent and saying exactly what you are and why you do some things. That's what I like about Reform. So no, I'm excited. I'm excited for the launch. Let's see if we get a sort of pre-bull run going as well at that time. That would be perfect. But I'm excited.
Yeah, pre-halving pump. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. All right, Shiel, thank you so much for joining us today, and you know, explaining who you are and giving us some thoughts and asking some questions. And you know, it's always great to have someone from outside of the organization to also be bullish and you know, look at what we're doing. So I really appreciate you being here today. All right, great. Well, we had some questions that were still lined up, but we're closing in on the 1 hour mark. We really want to try to keep these spaces within an hour every time we do these. What we will do is most of the questions are about the airdrop that people can get and how that exactly works, the different tiers that we have in our Discord, and what the real benefits are of each tier, what the benefit is of the diamond tier, which is obviously again connected to an airdrop, how much time people still have to get these tiers. Well, all of these questions we'll do a deep dive in the coming days on our Twitters. We'll post like threads about it, and then obviously announce it on our socials. And if there's still a lot of questions, we're happy to answer them in the next space. But I think for now, this was a great way to end it. So Thanks, guys.